Welcome, everyone. I'm excited to start this presentation with you today. Our first slide is titled, The Strategic Imperative of Seafarer Well-Being. This sets the stage for understanding why seafarer well-being is not just a moral issue, but a strategic one for the industry. Over the next few slides, we'll explore the importance of supporting our seafarers, the challenges they face, and how prioritizing their well-being benefits everyone involved. Let's dive in and see why this topic is more critical than ever. Let's take a closer look at the strategic importance of seafarer well-being. As we focus on building a resilient, safer, and more profitable maritime industry, it's crucial to recognize that the well-being of our seafarers is at the very heart of this goal. When seafarers are healthy, motivated, and supported, it directly impacts their safety and the overall efficiency of operations. Prioritizing their well-being isn't just a moral obligation. It's a strategic move that can lead to fewer accidents, better morale, and higher productivity. This slide underscores that by investing in seafarer health and safety, we're not only improving individual lives, but also strengthening the entire industry. Ultimately, fostering a culture of well-being aligns with our broader mission to create a more resilient and profitable maritime sector, one where everyone feels valued and protected. So, as we continue, keep in mind that the well-being of our seafarers is a key driver for sustainable growth and safety in the industry. Let's take a closer look at the core issue here. The well-being of seafarers is not just a nice-to-have, it's a strategic imperative. When we talk about operational resilience and financial performance, the health and morale of our crew are directly linked to these outcomes. It's important to understand that this isn't a peripheral concern. It's a fundamental part of running a successful maritime operation. Our goal is clear. We need to adopt a holistic and proactive approach to seafarer wellness. This means looking at the bigger picture, anticipating needs before issues arise, and creating a supportive environment that promotes overall well-being. When we prioritize seafarer health, we're not just improving individual lives, we're strengthening our entire operation and ensuring long-term success. Now let's take a closer look at the reality at sea and the key challenges crew members face daily. It's important to understand that these challenges form a complex web of stressors. First, there's demanding physical work. Crew members often work long hours and carry significant physical strain, which can be exhausting both physically and mentally. Next, we have psychosocial isolation. Being away from family and social networks for extended periods can take a real toll on mental well-being and emotional health. And then, there are systemic organizational pressures, high demands, tight deadlines, and constant operational pressures that can add to the stress. All of these factors are interconnected, making the maritime environment uniquely challenging. Recognizing these stressors helps us better understand the overall well-being of those working at sea and highlights why comprehensive support and intervention are so crucial. Now, let's take a closer look at the reality at sea and some of the key challenges faced by crews. One major factor to consider is stress multipliers. These are elements that can significantly increase the psychological pressure on crew members. First, poor leadership plays a critical role here. When leadership is lacking or ineffective, it tends to amplify all other negative factors. This means that if the leadership isn't strong, stress and issues can escalate quickly, affecting the entire crew's well-being and performance. Next, we have technology. While technology is essential for modern shipping, it also introduces new psychological pressures. For example, the fear of missing out, or FOMO, is a real concern. Crew members might worry about missing important updates, communication, or opportunities, which adds an extra layer of stress to their already demanding environment. Overall, these stress multipliers, poor leadership and technology, highlight how complex and challenging life at sea can be. Recognizing and addressing these factors is crucial for improving mental health and operational safety on board. Let's take a closer look at the regulatory landscape and the gap that often exists between policy and practice. First, we have the legal foundation established by important international agreements like the International Labour Organization, or ILO, and the Maritime Labor Convention of 2006. These agreements set the standards for seafarer rights and well-being. What's really significant here is that they establish seafarer well-being as a fundamental right, not just a privilege or an optional benefit. This shift is crucial because it emphasizes that taking care of seafarers isn't just a nice-to-have, it's a legal obligation. Connecting this to our overall theme, these regulations form the backbone of what should be a fair and safe working environment for everyone at sea. But as we'll see, there's often a disconnect between these legal standards and what actually happens on board. That's the reality gap we need to address. Let's take a closer look at the regulatory landscape and the reality gap we're facing. The challenge here is that there's a noticeable disconnect between what regulations intend to achieve and what actually happens on the ground in day-to-day operations. Sometimes, regulations are designed with good intentions, but translating them into practical, operational processes can be complex and challenging. This gap can lead to compliance issues or inefficiencies, and it highlights the need for a parallel cultural shift within organizations. We need to foster a mindset that aligns operational practices with regulatory expectations, ensuring that standards are not just checked off a list, but truly embedded in the company's culture. Ultimately, bridging this gap requires more than just adherence to rules. It calls for a shared understanding and commitment across all levels of the organization. Only then can we move toward a more seamless integration of regulatory standards into our everyday realities. Let's talk about the business case for investing in proactive wellness initiatives. When we prioritize crew wellness, it can lead to some really significant benefits. For starters, we often see improved crew morale, which is crucial for maintaining a positive and productive work environment. Happy and healthy crew members are more engaged and committed. Additionally, these initiatives tend to result in higher retention rates. When crew members feel supported and cared for, they're more likely to stay with the company long-term, reducing turnover costs. We also see a direct impact on operational costs. By preventing health issues and accidents before they happen, we can save a lot on medical expenses and operational disruptions. Fewer accidents and medical evacuations not only protect our crew, but also minimize costly emergency responses. And speaking of turnover, lower crew turnover means we have more experienced, skilled team members, which ultimately boosts overall efficiency and safety. So, investing in wellness isn't just good for crew health. It's a smart business strategy that aligns with our goal of sustainable, efficient operations. Now, let's talk about the strategic imperative of seafarer well-being. This is really the final piece of the puzzle, and it ties everything we've discussed together. The conclusion here is simple but powerful. By prioritizing the human element, our seafarers, we can create a future that's more resilient, safer, and ultimately more profitable for the entire maritime industry. When we invest in their well-being, we're not just doing the right thing morally. We're also enhancing safety standards, reducing risks, and improving operational efficiency. This is about recognizing that people are at the heart of every successful maritime operation. So, moving forward, if we focus on supporting and caring for our seafarers, the industry as a whole will benefit in countless ways, making it stronger and more sustainable for years to come. Thank you so much for your time and attention today. I really appreciate the opportunity to share these insights with you. If you take away anything from this presentation, I hope it's the importance of understanding the key concepts we've discussed and how they can be applied in your own work. Remember, success often comes down to applying what you've learned here in practical ways. If you have any questions or want to explore these ideas further, please don't hesitate to reach out. Once again, thank you for being such an engaged audience. I look forward to connecting with you